Welcome to another long lesson of Algebra 2. But honestly, guys, this lesson 2 is the last long lesson for a couple lessons because 3 and 4 we can combine, 5 and 6 we can combine because they're fast concepts, okay? This concept, though, like I've been saying for the past couple concepts, is super important and is laying a foundation. I know it sounds like I'm just repeating myself, but for real it is. Super important and laying a foundation. What I'm going to suggest to you to do for this example 2.1, you don't want to waste your time if you understand the first time, but sometimes it's super hard to understand this the first time because there's so many negatives in the numbers and the exponents, etc., and it gets a little confusing. So I'm going to take it a little slow. I'm going to explain to you how to do it, but then if you decide that you aren't captando it really well, what I would suggest you do is watch this part of the video again and write it in your notebook or even at the top of this lesson. Every single one of these examples, what's the answer? This example and what the answer is. That one, what the answer is. That one, what the answer is, etc. So that you can compare the ones that you're doing in your lesson and say, okay, well, it makes sense that this would work because look, it's like the same format. Until you start to get it, just compare the formats and help yourself, okay? Because there's rules in here that I'm teaching you with the examples. So look, negative exponents. What happens when you have a negative exponent? The first thing you need to understand, you guys, is this negative exponent has nothing to do with whether or not your answer is going to be negative. Not a thing. And if you can get that in your head, that's going to help you with 90% of the problems that people have with these problems, okay? So let's look at A and B together. There's a negative in the exponent on the denominator and a negative in the exponent on the numerator because there's an invisible 1 under here, right? Whenever you have a negative exponent, all you're doing is switching from numerator to denominator. So for example, if you find that this is in the denominator with a negative exponent, you're going to flip this fraction to have this in the numerator. If this is in the numerator and it has a negative exponent, you're going to flip it to put it in the denominator. Okay, I'm going to show you how that works. So, you just go 3 to the 2 is 9. So you flip it. So you go 3 to the 2 over 1, right? Okay? You just flip it and take off the negative exponent. Remember, it has nothing to do with your answer being negative. Then it's 3 over 2 is 9, and 9 over 1 is just 9 because the 1 is invisible, okay? So just flip it and solve for 3 to the 2. Same thing with this one over here, but now it's going to be 1 on the top and 3 to the 3 on the bottom. 3 to the third is 27, so your answer is 1 over 27. Okay? That's all. Nothing to do with your answer being negative. Okay, so let's look at this one. First of all, don't even worry about this negative right now because it's not even in parentheses. So what are you going to do? You're going to go 3 to the negative 2. Well, if you cover up that negative, 3 to the negative 2 is just like that one up there. Okay, you're going to go 1 to 3 over 2 and put that negative in front. Now you can look at the negative because that negative tiene que ver with your answer, right? Being negative. So there you go. So it's going to be negative 1 over what? 3 to the 2 is 9. Okay, now this time it's in parentheses. Well, first let's do this thing. So that means it's going to flip it to the denominator. So 1 over negative 3 to the 2. Okay? Well, negative 3 to the 2 in parentheses is 9. If you don't remember, you need to go back to the other lesson. So you have 1 over what? 9. Positive is negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. Okay, now they're going to throw un montón de negatives at you just to see if you are paying attention, right? So what are you going to do first? First, let's handle this. So it's going to be putting it in the denominator. So we have negative 3 to the third. Okay, this means that your answer is going to be negative against whatever you get here. Okay, so let's cover that up for a second, right? What is negative 3 to the third when it's in parentheses? Well, 3 is an impar, right? Which means this is going to maintain its negative. So you're going to go 1 over negative 27, right? Because you have a negative here, and this is going to be negative. This answer right here. So now you have a positive positive, so your answer is 1 over 27. And if you say to me, well, Ms. Jessica, didn't you say we couldn't just do positive positive in these kinds of problems? Oops, let me show you your answer. 1 over 27. Yeah, no, you can now. You just couldn't before. Remember, you had to follow the order of operations. You can't go over here and go positive positive and then take your exponent. No, it doesn't work like that, okay? But you can over here because now you're done. You need to simplify your problem, okay? If you don't understand, just watch it again. It's no big deal. It is a lot of rules to remember. Okay, so now you have your answer. X to the negative 5 and y to the negative 1. And what's cool about that, you guys, okay, is that that answer is for all of your answers in the numerator. And look, it's for all of your answers as negative exponents as well, because they're both negative. Now, how do you get them to be positive if you're in that part of the exercises, right? Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to put it down to the denominator, okay? Because x is in the numerator, x is negative 5, so you're going to put it down here to the denominator of 5, positive 5. Y to the negative 1, you're going to put it down to y to the positive 1. Well, what do you have on the top? Just a 1 because there's nothing else there. And that's how you make them all positive, okay? When you aren't told what to do, you can choose which one you prefer. Sometimes it just depends on how I'm feeling. I don't like my stuff in the denominator, even if it's positive. I like my stuff in the numerator because it's all in one line and the fraction doesn't make it look complicated, okay? There is not another one of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you let's see if there's any. Nope, there's none to show you yet because now you have to learn the next part of it in example 4. So let me show you example 4 and then we'll do one other practice one from your homework so you get more practice and more confidence. Okay, I'm gonna do number 24 with you from your homework tonight so that you can still have a little bit more confidence. Look, this one is 1 over negative 2 to the negative 3. Look at the negative 3 first. That's gonna push this into the numerator, right? So you've got, look at this one first. You've got negative 2 over 3 over 1. But we can take that 1 off now because the 1 is invisible, 1 is on the bottom. And so now what's your answer? Negative 8. Because this negative down here stayed the whole time, right? So you're just looking at this right now, flipping that up, keeping that negative and making it negative 8. That's how you do number 24. Okay, 2.2, look what it's saying. Product theorem for exponents. All you need to know, guys, is when you have where you're multiplying exponents, you know that you're multiplying all of this stuff, right, because it's pegado. But when you're multiplying exponents that have the same base, let's bring down 2 of them, right? X and x is the same base, but you have different exponents. What are you going to do with those exponents? You're going to add them, okay? So when you see the same base, you're going to add those exponents. So when it says in example 2, simplify, you're just adding the exponents of x and adding the exponents of y, okay? So what you might want to do is just circle the 2's first, the x's. 2 and negative 5, 5, 0, okay? Do your x's first. So you got 2 plus negative 5 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 5 is 2, okay? Plus 0 is 2. So your answer for your x is 2. Okay, and you can cross those out because you're done with them. And now you have y. Now be careful. This y right here has nothing on it. Does that mean that it's a 0? No, it means it's an invisible 1. So you can put your 1 there and then circle it. 1 and negative 4. Okay, what is 1 plus negative 4? Negative 3. So your answer is x to the positive 2, y to the negative 3. Same base, you add your exponents. That's all you need to remember. Okay, 2.3 gets a little bit more complicated because now you have exponents in the denominator, exponents in the numerator, etc., etc. And in your homework, they're going to want you to write your answers in different forms. Look, flip over to your homework, page 33. Look, in 9 through 12, it says simplify. Write answers with all exponential expressions in the numerator. So I need to show you how to put everything in the numerator. But look at 13 through 17. I need to show you how to write them with positive exponents. It says right there, write your answers with positive exponents. And then 18 through 22, it says to write your answers with negative exponents. So literally it's all the same answers, it's just in different forms. So I'm gonna show it to you with this problem right here. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is combine all of our x's and all of our y's. All of our x's and y's on the top and all of our x's and y's at the bottom. And then we can combine them from there. So let's do the numerator. Let's put our x and our y. Let's put our x and our y. Okay, so we know what we're working with here. Okay, let's put our 1 for our invisible y. Let's do our x's first. We've got 4 and negative 10. 4 and negative 10 is going to be negative 6. So you're going to put that right there. Okay, then you have your y's. You have 1 and negative 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Okay? So you have your x's and your y's done for the numerator. Then your denominator. You have x to the negative 3 and x to the 2, so that's negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. And then you have negative 6 and 10, that's going to be 4. Okay, now you can do it 2 different ways, you guys, to get, look what it says, get everything in the numerator. Okay, first you want to combine those x's and those y's, okay? So why don't we, for right now, just put everything in the numerator anyway, because you need to combine the x's and the y's. So you have x to the negative 6, let's just copy it, y to the 3. Now you need to move this x to the negative 1 to the numerator. Well, guys, when you move this to the numerator, if it's negative in the exponent, it becomes positive, just like I showed you. Right now, if it's a negative exponent, you just flip to the numerator or denominator. So you go x to the negative 1, and now it's going to be x to the positive 1. Because you're putting it to the numerator. Y to the 4 is not going to be y to the negative 4. Okay? And then you combine them. So you have negative 6 plus 1, x is to the negative 5. Y to the 3 and negative 4, so y is negative 1.